Right, so I will just stop sharing the screen now. And yes, we are again 2 minutes before time today for everything, as I said. So, and we are so fortunate that Sister Dipty is already there with us. She's patiently waiting she's been observing what we are doing, what we have shared since almost last 1 hour. And thank you so much for joining. But before I give it to you, I have to introduce you in the form of a poem as well. So Sister Dipty has been with us in the past as well. But let me just again speak a few things about her first. She is basically serving in the area of South Africa, and she has been a regular student and teacher at the BKs for the past 36 years. She coordinates the Observatory Center for the BKs in Johannesburg, and she also has served as the National Coordinator for Living Values, which is an educational program for Southern Africa. So values, something very close to us. And all of us know that she is also a youth coordinator and a part of the core team for the International Youth Development Program, which she is being instrumental for many, many years now. And she is an edu wellness coach, providing this service for the last 30 years in the field of education. So she has had a lot of experience dealing with students and youth through her profile. So let me just speak a few lines for her now. And if you want to know about her Lokik, she's a Bachelor of Arts from Johannesburg, and then she followed this up with a higher diploma in education. And finally, she also is a beautiful facilitator. We'll see today, you all will experience all that. So finally, a few lines now for her. Sister Dipty has facilitated feelings of hope and courage for the youth, and she guides them towards attaining the path of truth, thereby making their lives flow like the river, very smooth, which gives them a chance to heal themselves and soothe. She teaches them meditation, which helps them to go within the inner booth and get connected with the divine as easy as connecting to the Bluetooth. All of us know that nowadays. She helps the beginners on the spiritual journey to develop their milk tooth, beginners with milk tooth, so that they enjoy their life now as if they are having a sweet tooth. So with this, I would request Sister Dipty to carry on with them. Thank you so much for joining right from start of the workshop. Over to you.
Thank you, Manoj Bhai. It's always a lovely experience to be on the journey together, because I believe that we learn from each other, and whatever it is that needs to be shared, there's a collective energy. So thank you for all that you have shared in the last hour, because it's such a valuable energy to wake up. Before I even start, I must say, when I just put on my screen, I saw two souls on the screen who for me was a very special moment. And it's Padma Ben and Silimbai. I think they're now in Canada, eh? What was so beautiful is that I think when our spiritual journey began, these were souls that were always regular. They had been with us before I even came to the Brahma Kumaris. And it is that energy of someone who's been so consistent and regular that feeds an energy. So when I just put on my screen and I saw them and I thought, well, this is the living energy when we talk about how we grow and succeed. So thank you, Padma Ben and Silimbai. So earlier on, somebody was sharing that they would like to be more punctual. And I think sometimes we all have that intention that I would like to be punctual. And I was thinking about this word punctual and thinking that actually you can't be punctual if there's something else happening inside. It's like I can say to myself, I'm going to be on time. And there are many people who get up every day and they're going to say, I'm never going to be late. I'm going to be very punctual. They may even make a New Year resolution that I'm going to be at work on time. I'm going to get up on time. I'm going to do things on time. And then 2 days go by, 3 days go by. And then they realize that they're not punctual. And then they get disheartened by it. And then they say, oh, well, that's just my nature. And so they revert back to their old way. And then something comes up again and they think, wow, yes, as we said, if I'm late, I missed an opportunity. And so again, they recall how punctuality would be so important for them. And so they get inspired again and they say, well, I'm going to be punctual. And then they do it for a while. But if my punctuality is not anchored in something a lot more deeper, then that punctuality is not sustainable. It's a doing space rather than a being space. A virtue like punctuality is not just something I do of being on time, but it is a presence. It's a presence that I bring forward and say, yes, I'm here. And I think I learned this a lot in my own spiritual journey. And I begin to realize that I always see life in 3 circles. There's an outer circle where we have an expression of the things that is happening inside. Then there's the middle circle, which supports that outer circle. And then there's that inner circle, which is the core. And if for any reason I'm not nurturing the core, it's very, very difficult to sustain that outer circle. I always think about it like an apple, and you can shine the apple on the outside over and over again, and it will keep shining for a while. But if slowly the seed is rotting, it's just a matter of time, you're going to get a rotten apple. It's inevitable. And so even in our journey, in our expression to say, I want to be punctual, and I want to be successful, and I don't want to lose the opportunities. And as my sister Jenna said, I want to be ever ready. If I want all these energies to be flowing, then I need to be anchored to something a lot more deeper. And I think for me, I'd like to take it up in a few ways that for me has been an important part in developing that punctuality. One of the things we've learned in the Brahma Kumaris, which has helped me in that a lot, is the first lesson that we learned on soul consciousness. And it's about, I need to be soulful first. And Sister Jenna alluded to that quite regularly last week too. It's like when I'm soul conscious, I am present. You know, many times people's life goes by and they're absent. They're just not there. Time has gone by, opportunities have gone by, situations have gone by, and they're just not present. But when I am in a stage of soul consciousness, I am at this moment extremely present. I'm in a space of clarity. I'm in a space of peace. And you know, when you are peaceful, you have the insight to know what to do, when to do. And often people who are peaceful will do things properly and be on time. You know, somebody once said to me that, oh, if I'm too peaceful, I'll never get anything done. And yet my experience had been totally the opposite. You know, I find sometimes your day can have so many things, and you know that by a certain time in the day, certain things, you have a deadline and they have to go off. And in the morning, I just say to myself, okay, there's so many things I need to do today, but I embrace it with peace. And I find that when in the early morning time, I deepen that experience of peace inside of me, I stay in clarity. And then everything happens easily. You know, the day when you're not peaceful and your whole energy is congested, and I don't know in the different parts of the world you may be in, but I know in South Africa, if you stuck, you know, we have load shedding here, so our electricity goes off quite regularly. And so there's a lot of traffic jams. And so if you are not peaceful, and then you are stuck in traffic, and then you are peaceless, and then you're all stressed out, and then you're automatically late. No? So, but I find that when you are able to stay peaceful, it's like life will support you. I've seen it so often that in the midst of what the drama of life may hold around you, if you have clarity and if you have your peace and you know where you need to get to, it's like life will allow you and give you that opportunity. I remember one day, I received a call. I lived in the meditation center, and one day I received a call that one of our senior teachers who was in transit was delayed in transit to their next flight in Africa. So they were going to be at the airport. And it was a Saturday morning, and so they had a little time, and they couldn't come out of the airport, but I needed to go and give them something for their lunch and just to welcome them because they were sitting on South African soil. So under normal circumstances, it may have looked very difficult to do. So this was the reality, that I needed to be there by a certain time. So before I could get into a doing mode, I just became very peaceful and with a lot of love said, oh, my Ben is coming. It was Sister Jainty, actually. And I was saying, she's on South African soil, and with love, I'd like to go and meet her. I couldn't go empty-handed, so I had to go via the shop to go buy some lovely roses and then get to the airport in time. On Saturday morning, the shopping malls are busy. The things are, parking lots are full. And I just held that peace. And I said to myself, I will make it. I went to the shopping mall, and because I held my peace, a car came out, I parked. I went into the shop to go buy the flowers. There's long queues. My mind could have easily raced, and it says, oh, just leave it or you're going to be late. I stayed peaceful, but I had clarity. I needed to get where I needed to get. And just as I held my energy properly, the next teller opened and said, can you come to this side? Because they had to open another teller because it was busy. So I was first in the line. I paid for the flowers. I reached the airport on time. As Sister Jainty walked out of arrivals, I was standing there with the roses, with a lot of love to say welcome. So why I'm illustrating this example is that sometimes when we hear the word punctuality, we get into a doing mode. I must be on time. And we get so time conscious instead of being peaceful, instead of being soul conscious. And I find so many energies will begin to serve you when your energy is in the right space. Some people you know, they're just not peaceful, and so they're not alert. So they need to go from one place to the other, and they need to get there on time. But because their mind is not in the right space, the GPS told them turn left, and they forgot to hear it because they were listening to something else in their mind. So they missed the turn, and then the GPS says reroute yourself, and then they reroute themselves. So because they're not still in their mind, so much time is being wasted. So even though they have the facility to get themselves on time in a certain place, because they're not peaceful, they can't reach on time. And so how important it is, I'm finding more and more that punctuality is a byproduct. It's a product that will automatically come up for you when you are in the right state of mind. So again, another energy of soul consciousness that supports punctuality is love. You know, again, I love to use real life examples. So I would share with you how I see students at our center or when we have a program, and those that have this love to want to journey with this, they are here before time. It's not a matter of saying I need to be there at 3 o'clock because the program starts at 3, but they are there. They're just present. And you say to them, it's so lovely that you came on time. And they say, no, I'd love to be. I'm so happy to hear about the store. I'm so happy to be at the center. So what motivates them to be on time? It's not the time, 3 o'clock of the program. It's love. If I have deep, deep love for something, I will naturally be punctual. Deep, deep love. Many of you that may be practicing on your spiritual journey, and like our sister earlier talked about the value of the early morning time, because you love that time and you know what's happening, you're there, you're present. At that time, you're not time conscious, you're love conscious. You know, something you love, your energy flows. Your energy flows so quickly, and often you are there before the time. And so I need to see how much I'm having this love in my journey. That could create, you know, people, when they don't love something, they always delay it. They always procrastinate. You know, they're gonna go slow because their heart is not really there. You know, they say, okay, I'll do it just now. It's not their priority because they don't love it. You know? So when I'm in a space of soul consciousness, I have this deep space of love, and love directs my time. It automatically makes me present where I need to be with what I need to do on time. So it's a very, very beautiful space that we look at. Another energy that makes you punctual, which is a very soulful energy as such, is happy. You know, happiness is such a flowing energy, such a vibrant energy. And when there's happiness, there's a flow of energy. And that flow of energy makes you supported by time. And so what we see is this, in this inner circle of our life's journey, if my inner circle is not in a healthy space, as much as I want to say to myself, I'm going to be on time, it will be a very difficult effort. And it will be a very unnatural effort. I will say I'll do it for a month, I'll do it for 2 months. But if my heart is not in the right place, I cannot sustain it. Anything that you do from an external level is never sustainable until it's anchored to its core. And so I need to look at this whole journey. Another aspect of allowing the punctuality to come is my purpose of life. Punctuality is not just an event. Punctuality becomes your lifestyle. It becomes your personality. It becomes your way of being when you are in touch with your purpose. Think about the times in your life when you felt so purpose-driven by something. You've realized this is what's important for me. And you recognize your purpose of why you wanted to do it. You never delayed it. Sometimes you, even at that moment, you got so excited and so inspired, and you'll say, I'll do it now. You created a natural plan of action. You got the ball rolling. It wasn't even a step-by-step process. There was an awakening that happened. And the awakening drove your purpose. And your purpose made you do whatever you wanted to do on time. Very often people get up each morning, and we look at the lives of people that struggle each day getting up and being on time. One of the main questions, if you ask them, what's the purpose of your life? They say, I don't know. I don't know. I went through today, and okay, tomorrow, maybe another day. They're not purpose-driven. So if I'm not purpose-driven, if I don't have an aim, if I don't have an aim in my journey, my time can't flow with it. It's a natural byproduct when my purpose is very, very clear. You know, I look at two wonderful energies of inspiration in my life. And if I look at the efforts of two very special souls in my spiritual journey, actually three I'd like to talk about. And one of that is the founder of the Brahma Kumaris, Brahma Baba. And he recognized his aim. So he used to make efforts at 2:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, practicing a very deep stage of soul consciousness. He never ever once, I'm sure, said through his mind or in his words, oh, I have to be punctual. It just like didn't match. I'm sure he never got up saying, oh, I better be punctual. He recognized his aim. And so he was there at 2 because he wanted to deepen his bodiless stage. Natural. He was just there. I look at another example in our spiritual journey, a very beautiful soul whom we lovingly call Mama. She recognized who was teaching. She had absolute recognition and faith that these were the versions of truth. Mama was never one day late for class. She never ever said to herself, I'm sure, she never ever said, oh, I better be punctual. It didn't seem normal, it didn't sound natural. She was on time because of recognition. She was on time because she had faith. She was on time because she knew she was working with truth. So can you see what it is that needs to drive us? Punctuality will be that external expression, a byproduct that will be so powerfully there, no matter what. I look at another beautiful example who I've learned from a lot, Daddy Janki. Daddy Janki never missed World Peace Meditation Hour, never. She recognized the value of world peace meditation. And I remember in my own journey with Dadi, one of the things that she's always inspired me is never to miss world peace meditation hour, because she realized the responsibility of serving the world. 2 times where I saw Dadi's punctuality, everything else was quite on time, but she never missed evening meditation, 7 to 7:30. Never. Even if she had to conduct it, we saw in the later part of her journey how she did it. But also her recognition of understanding what the world needs now. She never missed world peace meditation hour. So again, when I have recognition, when I know my purpose, when I realize what I stand for, when I realize that my life is much bigger than just the day-to-day doings, then punctuality becomes a byproduct of purpose. So it's a very, very beautiful space that we see ourselves grow into when I understand that punctuality. I understand aim, I understand purpose, and I have a deep, deep sense of recognition. So when those journeys become clear within our space, then different things can begin to happen. So we see how along this way, the journey of soul consciousness is that space of being present. So I'd like to equate the word present with punctual. You know? Soul consciousness teaches me to be spiritually present. I'm alert, I'm present, I'm in a state of aliveness. And as a result of this, I can naturally be punctual. But think about it in your life. You know, sometimes when we move away from our original state of being and we may be caught up in anger, yeah? And that anger keeps you so busy. And then, you know, whenever any of these anger or ego, attachment, or all these energies, they come up, they become so self-absorbing. They are very self-absorbed spaces. You know, when people forget that, you know, they can go on for themselves for a long time. Their ego will let them speak forever because they need to prove themselves. Then they don't have respect for their time, and they don't have respect for another person's time. It's like when the vices take over in a certain way, the first thing we bypass is the value of respect. And like we alluded to it last time, and our sister Jenna, and this afternoon also it came up. Then when the vices come into space, like our anger and our ego and our attachment, we have no respect for time. We have no respect for the other. And therefore we bypass that space almost naturally and automatically. We just go by it. And so how, again, when I'm able to come really into that core of who I am, it's a very, very beautiful space to nurture. When I'm in that space beautifully, then things happen. You know, earlier on, somebody was talking about carelessness and laziness. And Manoj Bayu brought that up in the question answer as well. You know? And again, just that very, very deep feeling that the root again is when I move away from that inner presence of my being, which is who I am, and I'm alive and clear and in a peaceful state, in a loving state. When I move away from that space, I come into a space of sorrow. And we find that when there is sorrow, there is natural self-absorbed time. When you're in sorrow, you're very self-absorbed. You know? And when you're in sorrow, there's a block of energy. You block your energy. And when that energy is blocked, you're not moving. And when you're not moving, we know that on an internal level and even on a biological level, you become, because your energy is going to its lowest frequency, and as a result of that, lethargy sets in, and you feel lazy. A person who's sorrowful is always tired. They're always tired. Even if they sleep a lot, they're always tired because they're not happy. A happy person is fresh and flowing in energy. And so when they're sorrowful and then they're tired, and then somebody's standing at their office door and say, come on, you must be punctual. You've come 5 days late to work. And he's looking at that person and thinking, yes, but it's gone over his head because his sorrow is something that needs to be addressed before punctuality. The punctuality is going to come if we know how to address the sorrow first. You can't tell somebody who's wounded, run. You have to look at the wound and make him strong first. And then he'll run and he'll come to the race and finish on time. I find sometimes we put a lot of pressure, and we alluded to it in today's session a lot, that sometimes we don't know why people are late. And yes, we don't want to judge them for why they're not late and why they are late. But we see that these factors there are very much part of it. So the connection between laziness and sorrow, and that leads to procrastination. You know, when somebody's sorrowful, they say, never mind, I'll do it later. Their heart is heavy. They're feeling disheartened in a certain way. So they're not in the mood to do it. They'll say, I'll do it later. Not now. They will never be motivated to do something on time. And so how in this journey of deepening this virtue of punctuality, which we're valuing so much, which we see as an opportunity, we see it as a key to success. Behind this virtue, there's a life force. And we need to ignite the life force. Because when we ignite the life force, that energy automatically and naturally moves. Sometimes people are late because there's fear. You know? I remember some people that I've had the opportunity to chat to. And I asked them, why don't you come on time? Because I can ask them. I don't ask this to everyone, but they are good people who we have open conversations with. And they said, you know, I feel so exposed. I rather come when the crowd is there already, then nobody will notice me. So they purposefully come late because they don't want to be noticed, because they have fear of that kind of attention. Sometimes they may be struggling in their own self-respect. Sometimes that self-worth is becoming very challenged. Sometimes when they are on time, they get exposed because they are maybe the only person on time. And then they have to answer the question to whoever's there. So they say to themselves very politely, you know what? No, I don't think so. For the next session, I'll just go in 10 minutes later, and then nobody will notice because everyone is already in the session. Yeah. And so when that begins to happen in that way, we see how that personality of lack of self-worth, that personality that has fear inside, sometimes don't come on time. Yeah. So their punctuality is not because they maybe have disrespect for you, but maybe they still have lack of self-worth inside themselves. So I find that in this journey of developing punctuality, there's a twofold energy that we have to work with: an inward journey and an outer journey. And that inward journey, when that inner journey is really in a good space, and it's like the energy flow. You know, the days you're happy, the days you're peaceful, the day you're feeling purposeful, the day your aim is clear, when life is just moving for you, everything happens naturally on time. And you will feel like today's session, isn't it, Manoj Bhai? You're 2 minutes before time. Yeah? Because it was flowing. Everyone contributed so nicely. Everyone spoke so well. There was a natural response. Life was flowing. And so it all happened on time. You are well organized, which is also an internal state. It's not just an external state. Sometimes people say, well, be organized and you'll be punctual. One is to, yes, be physically organized, but the one is to be intentionally and spiritually organized, where I'm in the right space in my head, I'm present, I'm available, and I'm flowing. And then everything happens. And so we see how in this whole journey of punctuality and the flow that we look at in that way, so many things can happen at a very, very beautiful level. You know, sometimes punctuality doesn't always have to be a virtue. Now you're looking at me and thinking, what is the sister saying? You know, some people are on time, but they're on time for the wrong reason. You know, some people, they come to a program on time, but they're there because they want to know who else is going to be there. They have another agenda. You know, some people are very physically punctual, but not virtuously present. Yeah. So they have their own agenda. So they're on time, but they're on time for the wrong reasons. They're not on time for its pure purpose. And so in that term, and we can see many people, they can be physically present, but absolutely absent. You know? So they come and sit in the first row of your program, and in the next 2 minutes, they're fast asleep. You know? They come 5 to 4 in your program, and they're sitting. Wonderful. But they're totally absent. The programs happen, and afterwards they say, oh, sister, that was a lovely program, eh? I really enjoyed it. And then you say, yes. So punctual, but not present. Yeah. And so again, we see how in this journey of punctuality, the beauty of being present is such an important space. You know? A person that doesn't have that habit of being punctual will always, if there's a congestion on the inner level, then certain things in their life will always be part of their vocabulary. And one is excuses, you know. They will have perfect excuses, and they'll be very innovative about their excuses of why they are late. And they'll have wonderful, each time will be a wonderful new excuse. They're very innovative, but it's to sustain their journey of not being punctual. No? So that language grows within it. Or a person who doesn't have that journey, they make a lot of excuses. So excuses, and the second one is blaming. So they always would put it on the external. That, I've always wanted to be on time, sister. It is very important, but then, this happened and that happened. But we can see, some days in life, these moments are authentic because things do happen in our life. But you find that certain personalities who have the habit of being late, they're struggling with something else inside. And so whilst they are trying to deal with that, they don't take accountability of their journey, and they respond to their journey through excuses and blame. And we know that excuse has never solved the problem. Blame has never solved the problem. And blame has never, ever brought you to that right moment. And so it's a very, very, when I first received this topic of punctuality, I thought, interesting topic to think about. And then for a few mornings, as I sat in my early morning meditation, and in that early morning time, I love to talk to God in the morning. And I just said, you've given me this topic of punctuality to talk about, but you teach me. You teach me what you have taught us. And these were the thoughts that flowed. And it made it so practical for me as I resonated with that in my own journey. To say, child, just get that inside right, and the outside will fall into place automatically. When you get the core spinning at the right level, then the external spins naturally. It's like when you are at peace with yourself, when you love your journey, when you hold purpose, when your aim is clear, when you have the vigor of living life, then naturally everything flows on time. It's like they say in the Brahma Kumaris, the drama of life cooperates with you in the right way, in the right time. And everything then happens according to that moment. But if I'm not able to operate from that space, then I will always struggle within my journey. Yeah. So I can talk more, but you must just guide me, Manoj. Why must I speak more? Or do we trigger? Yes. I have more time. Oh, lovely.
We have more time.
Yeah, yeah. And so just the whole aspect of when we look at punctuality again, and if I look at these 3 circles of my journey, and if I talk about the core, so when I'm at the core, and that is my soul conscious space, and I'm able to deepen that space properly, it is in that space that I'm able to then allow many other, we talked about earlier, opportunities to come. But opportunities come when I am resourceful, when I am talented, when I am creative, when I have acquired within that space. So one is to be at your core. Secondly, to be able to, when you are at your core, you find time. You will always find time to grow. And this is an important aspect when we're talking about opportunity and success. Opportunity and success comes when you take time for yourself to grow. When you don't take time for your own growth, when you don't take time for your personal change, when you don't take time to come back to the fullness of who you are, there cannot be success. So when the core is in its right space, I'm opening capacity. So again, punctuality supports something bigger. But in order to support something bigger like success and opportunity, I need capacity. If I don't have capacity, I can't take on the opportunity. I can't experience the success. But that again comes, and this is that second very important layer of time, and that is creating time for my personal growth. So one is when I'm looking at the journey externally and how I am connecting with people and how I'm at places in time and how I've not missed external opportunities. But on an internal level as well, how much have I created opportunity and how much have I created space for capacity building by giving time for my inner growth? And again, if I look at the teachings and the beautiful mentors in our spiritual journey, they made time every day for their personal growth. And because they made time for their personal growth every day, that capacity provided external opportunity and provided external natural success to come. And so that journey again becomes important when I'm not at peace, when I'm not feeling that deep level of inner enthusiasm and I'm not feeling that level of love from inside, then there's that inner congestion. And then my days go by, my life goes by. I've missed so many opportunities in my life because I haven't taken time to grow every day. I'd like you to ponder on this point. How punctual are you on your daily growth? And part of that is, somebody had said earlier on that a way to grow is they check themselves every night to see, they keep their chart or their journal to deepen their growth. And so part of my punctuality is my commitment to myself. This is an important part of punctuality. When somebody says they're punctual, they have a commitment and they do it on time. So how much do I have a commitment to my inner growth? And I allow that inner growth to hold in a certain way. So this is my inner capacity to be able to grow within that space. So when my core is in the right space, the second area of my journey is my emotional space. And it's my space in relation to others. When my inner capacity is in the right space, I'm naturally in self-respect and I have respect for you. And therefore, all the things that we were sharing around situations, and we were talking about people not being on time and they're always late and they haven't valued something, is because often they've struggled in that inner space. And so when I don't have respect for my own time, I haven't made commitment to my own self-value, I can never respect another person's time. A person who's recognized the value for their own time will always respect another human being's time. Yeah. So when that journey begins in that way, it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct in my relationship with others. I can't demand people to do certain things. I found in my own journey, if I wanted to teach something, I just lived it. I found even in the meditation center, if I valued the whole thing of time, I made sure I sat in my meditation every day at a certain time. I just sat down. And I also watched my mind, that am I still now seeing who's come on time or who's not come on time? Am I judging those that are coming late on time? All of that's not going to work. Just do what you have to do. And what you have to do is be there on time. And so when you value your own time and you have your self-respect and you do what you need to do, your life becomes an inspiration. People can come anytime and they know it's not for show. They can be coming anytime and they know that if the meditation starts at 6, they see you there at 6. Even if they've come any other time, they realize you have made this natural in your life. So if I really want to teach people time and punctuality, let me live it in my life so powerfully, not with judgment, not with criticism, not with the feeling that I'm better than you, I've got my act together, you haven't. Those kind of energies don't serve anyone. Let me just live it. Let me be that so naturally. Let me be that so powerfully that I draw the power of that moment. And then that makes the relationship naturally good. You know, we can't change anybody. Try and change them. You'll just drive yourself around the bend. People only change when they want to change. But if you really want change in their journey and in your journey, be an inspiration for that change. You know? So when I'm able to work with that space externally and internally, then many things happen. In our outer circle of our life, I may be playing the role of a parent. I may be playing a powerful role in my profession. I may be playing a powerful role in many facets of my life. And again, it's not my role that determines that. It's who I am that determines that. If a person is purely punctual by self-respect and self-love, whether they're a mother or a father or a CEO or a teacher or somebody's brother or sister, that same nature will come. If I'm only punctual because of my role, then when my role changes, my value is lost. Yeah. Some people are very good people, but they're only good according to their role, not according to the soul. Yeah. So as long as they have to play a certain role, they do everything very well. And then they say, oh, now my role is over. Now I can sleep till late. Now they don't have the value of a universal virtue. They don't have a value of a universal journey. And so, you know, when we're talking about these values and we want it as a natural flow of my life, I have to ask myself this question very candidly. Am I using this virtue according to my role, according to my relationship, according to my profession? Or am I using this virtue? Or am I living this virtue because this is who I am? And when I've made it a soulful journey, and I've made that virtue so powerful as a natural state of my being in that way, then other things begin to flow very, very powerfully. So yeah, there's a threefold space there today. And we talked a lot about punctuality, but my stand on punctuality is it's a virtue that will shine naturally and beautifully out of you, authentically, with the flow of energy. When your inner flow is in rhythm, when your inner flow is happy, when your inner flow is peaceful, when you have self-value, you have self-respect, and you understand the journey. And if at any time you are struggling in that inner space, then that's the time to turn to God. You know, God as that eternal parent is always present. So God is always punctual. Yeah? He's always present. So if I'm struggling with being punctual, then let me connect with that source who's ever present, not, I clear this word, he's ever present. So when you feel that and you feel that flow, then you'll feel the power and the support of that moment as well. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You were just loving the flow. We don't look at the time anymore. We are all punctual and the flow is good. And I beautifully liked it when you said about punctuality is so much to do with presence, being present for that, and also clarity, which is one of our next values, which we are covering. So thank you so much. I would like to invite Sister Claudia to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Sister Claudia. Yes.
Oh, Shanti, good morning from us. It was so nice to hear you speaking. It was perfect. And of course, it fills up with so many different ways of looking. I was just looking here and say, we need a peace, to be clarity, and to have love, all those virtues that we need. And also you cover the other part. If we are not positive, if we don't have this, if you are not punctually on time, what happens, what is happening inside? Because sometimes one doesn't even know what is happening. What's the reason? So you cover all that about the vice, about the core team, how to work in the self. So I think this is a very good, was very practical. And after seeing Dr. Gina, and then see now you fill up all the space, it is, I think we have now a real picture of what means to be on time. Thank you very much. It was wonderful, your talk. And you just did everything that we need. Thank you very much, sister.
Thank you so much, Sister Claudia. And before I forget, and I go on to share the screen and show you, I don't know, again, for some reason, this has a little bit of hanging up, I feel. So Sister Anu, if you can share the announcement slides. And yeah, as the time is being loaded, let me just also invite the people who have joined new for the first time to share your contact numbers, your WhatsApp numbers as well, and your email addresses, so we can send you all the review materials as well. So as you can see, we are doing all about punctuality, regularity, and being ever ready. So we are topping it up with a silence retreat happening in the next 12 hours. So morning time for India, and for the West Coast, it's evening time, 8 to 10. And it's nothing about punctuality, but it's about being ever ready, as we did something in the meditative visualization as well. And then the next value, which already Sister Dipty has covered, clarity. I mean, if you are really having your aim and your faith and recognition of what is your purpose of life, then clarity is there, and then punctuality follows. So we are having with us our very two senior Rajyogis, dear Asha Didi and Brother Charlie. And just make a note that to suit or to accommodate the Australian time, this will be happening on Sunday morning, which is normally we have it on Saturday evenings for India, but Sunday morning India time and Saturday evening for the West Coast. So it is the next weekend, clarity. And we move on to the workshop with us. Again, another very clear soul, I must say, because when we hear the word Ukraine, all of us now, our antenna go up, right? So we have Sister Olga, who is coordinating that region and does the service activities there. So we can really listen to her great sharings, that a very practical experience, that how in the war times, being in the area where she belongs to, there's a lot of bombings happening, and how clarity has helped her. So that will be the next Saturday after that. And after that, you can see this, we'll be sending you in the emails, the elegant calendars, thanks to Sister Kosha for getting it out always. Yeah, and many souls were asking about recording Spanish, French, Portuguese. All these recordings can be seen in the next few days on our website, that is behasa.in, along with the English one, which is already obviously there. And you can feel free to send your comments, feedbacks on these emails for us, Values for Life series, or vancouver@ca.brahmakumaris.org. And yeah, all the episodes which you all have missed, 63rd going on, the past 62, all the recordings of the workshops are there on omshanti.tk/workshops. And the episodes are there, the English ones particularly, /playlist/English, and you can type in the language instead of English, French, Portuguese, and you'll get the thing. So thank you so much, all of you. And if we can take a quick photograph, over to you, Sister Anu, and then we'll go in the meditation mode. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We'll take a picture, everyone. Open your video. And thank you so much, Sister Dipty. Such insightful awakening for all of us. So everyone, I think they still take few seconds. So I'm just giving the few seconds to all if you want to be in the picture with Sister Dipty. Okay, here you go. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sister. So over to you, Brother Manoj.
Yeah, so should we play some music in the background for you, Sister Dipty, or just silence, whatever you prefer?
Anything you prefer, go with the flow.
Fine. Fine, sure. Thanks.
So take a moment and come into that space of stillness and silence. Just go within. Feel yourself to be pure, radiant energy. Beyond the physical, beyond any other limitations. There is I, the soul, who's just pure, radiant energy. As I activate this inner being and step into its radiance, there's a flow of peace. There's a warmth of love. There's a stillness of purity. There's a strength of power. I continue to ignite this inner flow of my being, and I am present with myself. I experience such stillness, such clarity, such peace. In this beautiful state of being, the energies of my life and the rhythm of life's journeys begin to flow in their original, authentic rhythm. I allow these energies to flow. And as my resonance grows, they touch God's resonance. I am peaceful, but I'm in the presence of the one who is ever peaceful. My love is awakened, but I'm in the presence of the one who holds unconditional love. In this beautiful moment of connection, in this beautiful life flow of my inner journey and my connection with the divine source, life's energies begin to flow in rhythm. I become present. I am open and available. and life's energies flow. My life falls back into equilibrium. And I meet life in fullness. O divine source, I stay in your divine presence and allow my inner being to come into resonance with your flow. And as this energy flows, I grow. My light becomes brighter, and I meet life with power, with beauty, and I am totally present. In your presence, O divine source, I am present. I am filled with power. I am filled with purity. I'm filled with love. As I am anchored to who I truly am and my life's journey, I meet each moment of my day, my life, and the people in my life with love, respect, and value. I become one with a punctual personality in life's journey. I stay with your divine source and allow my life to be full. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much once again for your sharings and for your valuable time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Lovely to be with you too.
You. See you again.